Indian media has once again done what it is best known for, spewing venom against Pakistan based on fabricated lies. After a devastating shooting at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Indian, Afghan, and Israeli social media accounts have rushed to spread false propaganda against Pakistanis. And all of this has happened before facts were established, before investigations had concluded, and before the dust had even settled. The Bondi Beach shooting was a horrific tragedy, the worst Australia has seen in years. But what followed it online was another kind of damage: misinformation, scapegoating, and the weaponization of fear. So let's slow this down. Let's talk about what actually happened and what didn't. Here's what we know. On Sunday evening, 2 gunmen opened fire, killing 15 people and injuring more than 40 others during a Jewish celebration near Bondi Beach in Sydney. Australian authorities described the attack as anti-Semitic terrorism, and a counter-terrorism investigation was launched immediately. Australian media later identified the suspects as a 50-year-old father and his 24-year-old son, Sajid Akram and Naveed Akram. One was killed in a police shootout, the other remains in hospital under armed guard. Now, those are the confirmed facts, but almost instantly, a parallel narrative took over online. Social media accounts, many traced to Indian and Afghan networks, began falsely claiming that the attackers were Pakistani, or that Pakistan itself was somehow responsible. Some went even further. They wrongly identified an unrelated Pakistani Australian man, circulated his photos and his name as if he were the shooter. That man later came forward publicly saying that he feared for his life. He had nothing to do with the attack except sharing a similar name. This wasn't just careless speculation, it was targeted misinformation, and Pakistanis became the convenient scapegoats. At the same time, credible analysts urged restraint. International relations scholar Ahmed Al-Arbi noted on X that early reports suggested at least one Afghan national may have been involved, but he stressed something essential. Official details remain limited and investigations are still ongoing. And that's the distinction that matters. Acknowledging uncertainty is responsible, and assigning blame without evidence isn't. But that's exactly what the Indian accounts are doing. Australian broadcaster ABC later reported that Australia's intelligence agency, ASIO, had investigated Naveed Akram in 2019 over possible links to the Islamic State group. According to the report, he was believed to have been connected to an IS member arrested that year and later convicted of preparing a terrorist act. ABC also reported that investigators believe that the 2 gunmen may have pledged allegiance to Islamic State and that 2 IS flags were allegedly found in their vehicle. But here's what often gets left out online. New South Wales police said that they could not independently confirm these claims. ASIO has not commented, stating it does not discuss individuals or ongoing investigations. And ASIO Director General Mike Burgess said one suspect was known to authorities but not considered an immediate threat. In short, the investigation is still unfolding. But what this attack was not about is just as important. It had nothing to do with Palestinians or Pakistanis, it had nothing to do with Gaza, and it had nothing to do with the recognition of Palestinian statehood. Yet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu seized on the tragedy to criticize Australia's support for recognizing a Palestinian state, warning about rising anti-Semitism and suggesting a political link. But that claim doesn't really hold up. Australian officials themselves questioned the relevance of dragging foreign policy, especially Palestinian statehood, into a domestic terror attack with no established connection. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese stressed that the lesson from Bondi was not about identity, but about tightening gun laws to prevent future attacks. And this is where an important truth gets overlooked. Because while politicians debated and social media blamed entire communities, a Muslim man was the one who ran toward danger to save lives. His name is Ahmed Al-Ahmed. He's a 43-year-old fruit shop owner and a father of 2. He was the bystander who tackled one of the gunmen and wrestled the weapon from him and forced his retreat. Video footage shows Ahmed sprinting towards the shooter when others were running away. He was shot 4 to 5 times in the shoulder as well, and he still didn't stop. His parents told ABC News that their son acted purely out of instinct, His father said that when he did what he did, he wasn't thinking about the background of the people he was saving, and that he doesn't discriminate between one nationality and the other, especially here in Australia. So when people talk about anti-Semitism in sweeping terms, and when entire Muslim or Pakistani communities are implied, suspected or blamed, they erase stories like Ahmed. But the reality is that a Muslim man didn't just condemn the attack, he physically stopped it. This is why collective blame is not just wrong, it's dangerous. It ignores individual responsibility, it fuels division, and it distracts from real accountability. The Bondi Beach shooting was a tragedy, but misinformation made it worse. Pakistanis were falsely blamed, Palestinians were wrongly implicated, and facts were drowned out by fear and politics. Investigations are still ongoing, truth is still emerging, and until that process is complete, no community should be turned into a suspect by default.